hello. When I was a little girl, I had a big stuffed panda doll. Oh, it was soft and furry, and I took it to bed with me every night. It was my favorite toy until a little lady named Barbie came into my life. One day, my family went to the zoo, and of course, I took my favorite panda doll with me. I was so excited when I found out that the zoo had a panda bear exhibit. Well, I ran over there as fast as I could, and what do you think I saw? It was a whole family of panda bears, and the smallest bear was holding a doll that looked just like a little red-headed girl with glasses. Well, the baby bear looked at me with my panda doll, and I looked at him with his red-headed girl doll. Cute doll, I said. Not as cute as yours, the bear said. Want to trade? No thanks, I said. If I want to see a pretty little red-headed girl, all I have to do is look in the mirror. Good point, the bear said. Looking back, I was lucky none of the panda bears ate me for saying something like that. Well, but we became good friends, and I went to visit them at the zoo for many years to come. Now, this is a delightful story about a panda bear that also happens to be the winner of my 2010 Be a Famous Writer contest in the 9 to 13 age group. It's by Bill Wang, age 12, and it's called Lucky the Bamboo Chopper. Lucky was a happy panda. He had sand in his eyes again, but he didn't care. The sun was like a universal oven, but he was too happy to care. As he walked down the street, he wished everyone a happy new year and had earned 10 bamboo leaves, because bamboo leaves were like dollar bills if you were in Panda Land, from the nice elders by the time he reached home. As he opened the bamboo door to his house, a wonderful scent filled his nose. He followed the scent of dinner to his mom. By the time he sat down, his drool had reached his chin. Hi, Mom, Lucky cheerfully said. Oh, hi, Lucky. Are you ready for your bamboo chopping lessons tomorrow? Mom said as she tried the egg flake soup. Lucky had forgotten. Tomorrow was the big day. He was going to learn how to chop bamboo. Forgetting to answer his mom, he raced to his room. He dropped the 10 bamboo leaves into the bucket. Well, he hopped onto his bed as he thought about chopping bamboo. He thought of how he would be such a good chopper that he would start chopping barehanded. He sank into his soft bed, but he got lost in thoughts and slowly fell asleep. After all, pandas slept easily. The next day, Lucky woke up very early and was still full of energy, as if he were a monkey with a lot of caffeine. He was bouncing off walls and practicing his bamboo chop so much he could explode any minute. As always, his mom was downstairs ready with breakfast, despite Lucky waking up early. Hi, Lucky, eat some leftovers from yesterday. You'll need it, Mom suggested. Lucky ate most of all the red meat, egg rolls, and even the vegetables. As if it were his first time eating, he noticed how hungry he was, so he stuffed a cookie into his overpacked mouth, as politely as he could, of course, and then he went upstairs to grab his bucket, his stomach and mouth as round as yoga balls. Lucky kindly said bye to his mom and started to run because he wanted to be the best student of all and not to be late for the first class of the year. Once he'd reached the school, he started to slow down. He took a deep breath as he wiped the sweat off his forehead. And when he entered the door, he looked around for a teacher. He immediately recognized Mr. Branch, the axe seller. Well, hi, Mr. Branch, Lucky said, relieved that he'd already met his teacher. Well, hello, Lucky. Take a seat, the muscular panda replied. Lucky took the front seat and noticed a wooden axe on the chair. Well, he picked it up and started cutting air, imagining it was bamboo, as if he were already in the forest. As Lucky chopped, the room started to fill up. Good morning, class, Mr. Branch said, after all 20 students were imaginarily chopping bamboo. Good morning, Mr. Branch, the class replied in unison. Today, we will be going to the forest of bamboo. If there are no problems, let's go, Mr. Branch said as he led the group out. There was no need to tell the students to bring their axes, because the young pandas would have, even if he'd said not to. After the short walk to the forest, Mr. Branch started to teach them about how their axes must be straight when chopping, and how they must use power and speed to make perfect chops. When the teaching was over, he invited them to try it themselves. It was the happiest day of Lucky's life. At the end of the day, Lucky had chopped down 4 bamboos. Well, he was pretty proud, but he wanted to do more. "Okay, class, time to head back," Mr. Branch said as he lined the class up. As everyone put on their "Can we stay?" faces, they slowly headed back towards the school. Once they were in the classroom, they started to share stories about their first time chopping bamboo. While all the other pandas talked, Lucky went to ask Mr. Branch about buying an axe. "Mr. Branch, can I buy an axe?" Lucky asked, as confident as possible with his small voice. "Well, of course you can. Name an axe, and I have it," Mr. Branch replied happily, even with his low voice. Lucky thought of how slowly he chopped, so he replied, "I want a steel axe." "Well, I don't think I have one of those. I don't think it'll do you any good. They're for advanced choppers," Mr. Branch said in surprise. "Well, please, I don't think I did very well today, and I think a steel axe would help me improve." "Well, if you want it that bad, I'll sell it to you for 10 bamboo leaves." "That's fine with me," Lucky replied as they made the trade. As Mr. Branch silenced the class, he said, "Well, that's the class. You're dismissed." As everyone ran home, Lucky dashed back to the forest, and when he reached it, he started to chop bamboo. As his steel axe swung, he noticed that he wasn't chopping any better than the last time when he was using the wooden axe. Slam! Filled with frustration, he threw the axe down toward the ground as if he were mad at it. "Are you surprised?" It was Mr. Branch. "Well, yes, I am. I thought I'd be chopping faster," Lucky said, pretending that he wasn't surprised that Mr. Branch was watching him. "Lucky, even with the best axe in China, you would still need to work hard to chop well." Lucky understood and ran back home thinking about the conversation. There was one thing he didn't bring back with him, the steel axe. From that day forward, he worked hard to succeed. Lucky became one of the best bamboo choppers and was later known as Lucky the Bamboo Chopper. And that's how Lucky learned, even with the best axe in China, you still need to work hard to chop well. The end.
Really? Did you really say that, Nigel? Oh, you're such a... Oh, hang on 1 second. I'm just Skyping with my friend Nigel. Well, all right, I have to go then. Yes, that's right. Ta-ta to you. Okay, fairly well. Oh, sorry. It's tea time in London and I had to Skype my friend Nigel. We always like to share some tea together. And I'm so glad you're here because today I'm going to read the winner to my 5th annual Be a Famous Writer contest. And the story is called My Magic App. And it's by Mrs. Alicia's 3rd grade class at W.J. Gurganus Elementary School in Havelock, North Carolina. Oh, that's exciting, isn't it? All right, everybody ready? Magic is everywhere. It can be found in the extraordinary and amazing things that happen all around us every day. I always thought of things in nature to be magical, but I never imagined magic, as in witches, fairies, and hocus-pocus wands, existed for real. That is, until the day I found out the hard way that magic is very much a real thing. My day began like any other ordinary Monday at Gurganus Elementary School. My third grade class had just returned from the winter holiday, and we were beginning our morning routine just like usual. After we finished our reading and math practice, we're allowed to get our iPads out to practice fluency, which is reading with expression and emotion. Today, however, I noticed an iPad laying all by itself on a side table where nothing had been earlier. It had a cover that looked exactly like mine, but when I touched the screen, it had many more apps than mine had had, though. I thought perhaps that my teacher, Mrs. Alicia, had installed some new programs over the Christmas break for me to use. I picked one of the new apps that was named Spellbook. The main screen had choices: classic spells, funny spells, and do not even try it spells. I'm a pretty good reader, but I decided to start with some good old classic spells, beginning with the disappearance spell. I read these words aloud in my best reader theater voice. Abigan, Rabigan, Smiddledy, Riddledy, piles of things are there and here, make our things disappear. Well, the app was really fun to read. I even waved my hands in the air. I was really getting into it. So I chose another one, which was called the rain spell. Pitter, patter, boomity, zappity. The clouds are rolling near. Lightning will soon be here. With a crash and a boom, thunder will fill the room. Well, as soon as the last syllable left my mouth, I was startled by a loud crash of thunder that sounded like a giant stomping through our playground. That was odd. I didn't think it was supposed to rain today. I looked around the room and my classmates were still busy doing their work, and our teacher was at her desk grading papers. So I decided to try one from the funny spells category. The first one was titled Frog on a Log. Bibbidi, dibbidi, floppity, hoppity, all around the room you will hop. Don't you stop, because you might flop, flop, flop. Green warts you will know. Oh, my neighbor Kyle bumped me with his elbow just as I was about to finish the last line. I glanced at him as I finished. Into a frog you will grow. Well, before my eyes, Kyle made a weird face and reached out to grab my arm. He suddenly looked sweaty, almost slimy-like. His skin began to turn green and bumpy like a pickle. Yikes! What's happening? Then he began shrinking. He was turning into a frog. Did I do this with my spell? A normal person's reaction in this situation, if anyone's ever been in this situation, might be to immediately scream and get their teacher for help. But I knew if not doing your homework was considered bad, turning your friend into a frog was way worse. I would for sure have silent lunches for the rest of my life. I had to figure a way out of this mess. I thought back to the other spells I cast. I did a disappearance spell, but nothing seems to be missing, and a storm spell, although it is raining outside. Well, just then Mrs. Alicia announced, "Okay, boys and girls, return your iPads to their chargers and have a seat." Ooh. Has anyone seen the stack of math classwork that was just piled here on the side table? And where is Kyle? Didn't I see him this morning? I am in so much trouble. Well, she went to find her mysteriously missing work. This was my chance to get the help that I needed. As soon as the teacher left the room, I stood up on a chair and told the class about the Spellbook app and everything that had happened this morning. The students were shocked, but quickly got on board with helping to find a solution. Together we searched the app for counter spells, but there were none. And when we looked in the app store for any other spell books, there was none of those either. We did, however, discover teeny tiny words written at the very bottom of the main screen, and they read, "Many of these spells contain powerful magic. If you find yourself in need of a counterspell, you can buy the Spellbook Upgrade version 2.4 for a tiny fee of $1.99. Victory! Whew. When Mrs. Alicia returned, I begged her, in my sweetest voice, to please upgrade our new favorite app. Well, our teacher, because she's so fabulous, agreed. And after lunch, she got the new app. I immediately searched for the counterspell for Kyle. to fix the problem, all you had to do the whole time was read the spell backwards. We snuck him out at recess, and I read the spell backwards. Instantly, Kyle turned back into his human self. He ran away screaming that he was going to tell on us. It's a good thing for us, our teacher would never believe such a crazy story. So our adventure had a happy ending. We were able to find the counter spells to fix Kyle, and the weather, well, our math work can just stay disappeared. And when we returned from recess, the iPad was missing. We still aren't quite sure where it came from or where it's gone. We may never solve that mystery. But one thing is for sure. We learned that day that magic is a real thing. The end.